Hello again, John Keedwell from the Epics Academy and the Epics Vision Academy. This is one of a series of short videos which hopefully you're getting entertained. And the first one it's about making moving pictures from a DSLR camera, so we'll head right into it now. This is one of the reasons why you actually want to shoot on a DSLR camera, certainly the ones with the larger film sizes or the sensor sizes. As I said in episode 1, the sensor size directly correlates to the actual amount that's in focus on your particular lens. So the laws of physics say the smaller the sensor, the more inherently is in focus, and conversely the larger the sensor, the less in focus. You need to use a longer focal length lens to get the same angle of view. Think of the 10:8 cameras years gone by and 5x4 inch cameras. They had very big long lenses, very low depth of field on 5.4 or 10:8 cameras. If you look at some of them, their eyes are in focus and their ears are out of focus. So the bigger sensor cameras like the Canon, there are smaller sensors and they have more inherent depth of field. The Canon Rebel is actually called that in America. It's not called that in Britain, so I think the equivalent is the 70D, or for the T5i is the 70D. Okay, this is why you use a larger sensor on your camera. Basically, the smaller the sensor, the more inherent depth of field you get. So the bigger the sensor, the less depth of field you get, and this is why people like it. It has a cinema look to it, and that gives that look so you can tell the people in the audience what to look at, as amongst other things that you can use to tell the audience what to look at through lighting, through colour, through dialogue, through a whole variety of cinematic reasons. So to get the full frame, obviously if it's a 5760 resolution sideways in a horizontal resolution, if you do the maths, that as it happens, it goes 1920 goes into 5760 exactly 3 times. So obviously Canon could use the very small part of the middle part of the sensor, or they could try and record off the data off the large part of the sensor, but as there's a lot of data that you've got to record. So what they do, it's quite clever in a way, is they basically throw away 2/3 of the information. If you look at the bottom picture there, you have a normal sensor. You'll notice actually there's more green sensors than red or blue. There is a reason for that. I'll tell you about that in a minute. The sensor basically, or the camera, when it goes into video mode, it throws away two lengths of pixels out of 3. So you're only seeing 1 out of 3 rows of pixels. And this is called pixel skipping in the trade. This gets it down conveniently to 1920 by 1080 format, which is pretty much the 2K resolution for television, and most video cameras for cinema nowadays are set on 2K resolution or 1920 by 1080. The problem with that is, I hate to be negative, you're obviously throwing away 2/3 of the information, and that can cause artifacts to happen later on. I'll show you that in a minute. Also, the camera reads from top to bottom, and it doesn't record the frame like a stills camera does to a degree. It exposes the frame all at the same time. On a video camera, it actually scans from top to bottom, and that can create some artifacts. This is what I was talking about before with the artifacts created by the fact that you're throwing away 2/3 of the image. Without going into scientific principles here too much, it's called interference patterns with very tightly knitted details, such as a brick wall, as we see here. It's like looking through a Venetian blind. You actually get certain amounts of information, some of it doesn't. Obviously the wall doesn't look like that. It doesn't look like a ripple in the wall for real. That's what the camera sees. And what happens in a video camera is you get a thing called an optical low pass filter, which basically sits just above the sensor, and it actually softens the image, if you like, slightly, and actually blends it into one. So you, with a video camera, you don't get as much of this artifacting, like the aliasing it's called, and the patterns you get. Basically, it's an interference pattern that actually, to explain to a little bit, this is what happens on the bottom right of the screen. It's like a pond. If you throw a pebble in a pond and you throw two pebbles in, it'll actually enhance the wave and it'll actually negate the wave in certain points, so you get interference patterns. So you don't get the full resolution when you're shooting with a DSLR because it's a lot of data. And video cameras and some stills cameras are more set up for recording moving pictures, and actually it's not so bad if you have one or two times when this happens, because most of the time you can actually stand 10 feet back and that artifacting will disappear. That could cause some problems though, because you don't always see it when you're shooting. So here we go. Another artifact which you may or may not be aware of is the rolling shutter effect. This is actually a bit of a reconstruction. It's the rolling shutter effect of the car on the right is not taken on a camera. It's actually just the same picture, and I've actually made it look like the rolling shutter, but it does actually look like that. It can create some effects. So the picture on the left of the car, a fast shutter will freeze the motion, which isn't always desirable, because you can get some artifacts created like this as well, because video and film likes to have a bit of motion blur. Now I've probably overdone it slightly, but if a car's moving, it actually blends in from one frame to another. You've only got 24 frames where you're actually going from one to another on a movie. If it blurs, it actually isn't just a series of stills photographs anymore. It actually blends one into the other. So you actually end up helping the viewer understand that it's a moving picture. So when the camera sensor scans the picture from the top to the bottom of the frame, the top part of the sensor actually captures a different moment at a time. Obviously, if something's moving fast left to right or right to left, it will distort the image, like in the picture of the car on the top right. Your circular wheels won't look circular, it'll lean forward or backwards like this, and it's not ideal because it can create some all sorts of effects. It can also create effects like the propeller on the bottom right. This is actually genuinely off a stills camera with a rolling shutter effect, and it creates this weird effect where you're recording part of the propeller as it goes round, and obviously a propeller doesn't look like that, so it can create some issues. The only way around that is a global shutter, which can also create some issues as well. So it's not perfect. Nothing's perfect, but this is something to be aware of, and most sensors in stills cameras, DSLR cameras, are actually CMOS sensors, and they're not a global shutter, so can create these issues. I can obviously go into more of this in my membership site, but for now, this is me, John Keedwell, owner and founder of the Epics Academy, where I teach hands-on courses, how to shoot with video and how to shoot with lights. And the membership site is loads of articles on 4K and DSLR, green screen, high speed, After Effects, motion control, all sorts. Come and check me out there, epicsvisionacademy.com. And I'll see you on the next video.